So, I would say I'm more emotionally stable now. But sometimes, let me turn that down. Hold on. Also, if you're new here, I post every day, if not every other day, be playing games, conversating, talking about mental health because I work in mental health, talking about ADHD because it's affected my life in a not so positive way, but it's been better compared to the past. And that's a little bit of what I want to rant about. So, we're just gonna relax, play Megabonk, talk, relax. I already said that. But let me turn that down. I'm more stable now, I would say. Like, I know I'm more stable now, but sometimes things do happen that does make life kind of insufferable. It makes things difficult, and you have to, and I also kind of use these as a diary of sorts, so that's why I like get vulnerable and talk about more updatey type stuff. Um, and nothing bad happened, just I have to have like a hard um, conversation with someone, and I hate that kind of thing. I hate it so much. It's to the point where I was like praying about it, and when I was praying, I was feeling a lot better because it just made me remember like the Lord is my foundation, and just that stability, knowing that I've been brought this far, knowing that He'll bring me further and order my steps and things, and the whole deal, and just my chest was hurting before thinking about it, but now it's better. So I'm just playing some Megabonk to just blow off some steam and clear my head and get my mind organized. Um, because having something to do with my hands sometimes just it can make things a little more sensible, or help me to make sense of things a little better. I do feel better than before when I realized I had to have a hard conversation with someone, but it still sucks, Um, it still sucks, and it kind of made me think about how life is just very. This week kind of sucked, and it's sucking. And when you have ADHD, also I want to say when you have ADHD, sometimes I'll just my brain will think faster than my mouth, so I'll start on tangents that don't really have anything to do with what I was talking about before. So I apologize. But this is me being super real and vulnerable and trying to make sense of things and organize my mind. I talked about a money situation where like I'm trying to be better financially, and it's hard when you have like a poor relationship with food and things, blah blah blah. And like eating out and whatnot. It's hard to give some things up, like eating out and the things that you got used to and whatnot. And so why did I start on that conversation? I don't know. Sometimes I'll start in a conversation and not know completely why. I don't know, but I say that to say that it's okay. It's okay, and I'm trying to tell myself it's okay. Like, things are kind of all over the place. This week kind of sucked, and I'm trying to pick up the pieces from this week because I didn't do my exercises. I didn't keep my room clean. Oh darn it, how did I die? I mean, I know how I died, but I didn't do anything of the sort. So this weekend is me just trying to catch up and get things done and clean up in a way, not just clean up my room, but just to start off this next week on a good note where I am. Do have a clean room, and where I let me see. And where I am, starting exercises and stuff so that I can feel kind of more empowered and like I'm taking care of myself and get my energy levels back up. Because, you know, and also like protein stacking, uh, getting back to consuming protein as well and prioritizing that. I've still got to do my grocery list today too. Um, and I can tell I'm not as bad as I was yesterday or the day before because my energy levels were to the floor. Like, they were to the floor. Like, this week, especially, like I talked about it before, but I took one half the day off because I was so tired, and so unmotivated and, like, kind of slipped into a depression. And, like, my hormones have, TMI, my hormones have something to do with that too, so I'm in that phase of the month where, like my luteal phase, where like you do have a lower. How did that happen? You do have lower energy levels during this time. Let me take a sip of my coffee so I can wake up. Maybe my coffee will wake me up. Okay. I was doing better before. What was I talking about? But yeah, this week my energy levels were really bad. And so I'm doing anything I can. I think I'm going to exercise again today so I can like just have more of a head start in my energy levels being good. I'm glad that my issue isn't like having skipped too many days of medicine, which I've had that before, where I slipped into a depression because of that. And let's see. But if I can avoid that situation I was in this week where my energy levels were so bad, I very much want to. So yeah, my key thing is exercising and protein stacking. I also, just venting about this, but I really, I don't know, like, how do I say? So, the money situation involves how, like, I have one more semester of school left, right? And I can't pay for it yet. And so I have to email my advisor and let her know, like, hey, I can't pay for this yet. And if I would have prepared for this before, further, then I probably could. But I can't because I didn't. And that's my fault because I was more focused on spending money than saving money. And now I have to pay for that. You know, like literally and figuratively. Like I have to be in this situation where I am trying to figure out how to save money and the best ways to save money. And just like for example, this week did not go well when it came to money because okay, so at my job, I'm very thankful you can work overtime. I was working overtime this week and I was doing good at the beginning of the week. I'm really bad about using that overtime to flex. Like if I have it, I'll flex it. And I was like, no, Brittany, don't flex it. You know, no matter what, just push through. But I got so, like, my anxiety came back up. Like Friday afternoon. So, like, I used it to take a break and I was supposed to, you know, I was like, well, let me work over. But then I got super, super tired. And that's why I don't want to be in this situation again where my energy levels are, like, to the floor. Because it affects everything. And for me personally, this is kind of sad, but I have to really go through something to learn a lesson regarding, oh, why you shouldn't do this. It's like, oh, Brittany, you should, you know, make sure your protein levels are up and you have protein in your system, and you should make sure that, like, you exercise. Because if you don't, like, some people can literally go, like, be sedentary for such a long time and still have stable energies and things like that. I can't, dude. Like, that's something I've learned about myself. I cannot go without exercise. I cannot go more than a week without exercising, walking, um, getting some kind of getting some kind of regular physical energy, physical activity to like to help me to have stable energy levels, because I do kind of have a job where like you're getting up and going and stuff, but like that's not enough. In order to do that job comfortably, I need to have stable energy levels. And when my roommate was here, my other roommate, it was easier to like, because we both prioritize exercise, and it was easier to go walking with her because it's easier when you have someone else. And now she's not here because she got married, and now I have to be accountable for myself when it comes to that. And I have a friend kind of helping me, but it's still me, trying to be responsible for myself when it comes to that. So it's hard. It's hard, but I really, really need to. And I already exercised today and started off on a good note. So I really need to, that initial exercise is the hardest, I think. Like, that initial trying to exercise is the hardest part because your energy levels are just not there. And I was like, I have to push myself. And I felt kind of better for it. Like, my head felt a little clearer. So that was very rewarding from that. And I do need to do more. I need to do more. Either this afternoon or tomorrow, but I need to keep it consistent. So that's one thing I've been working on this week. One thing that really set me back this week. I'm very sensitive and in tune with my own body, like in a way where if something's off, it messes with my motivation and it messes with my emotional regulation. It makes me ill. Like, when I say ill, like emotionally ill, like it makes me just feel out of sorts and discombobulated. And I'm the kind of person, I'll do this thing where like if things feel out of sorts enough, I will take a day off. And I'll do this thing where I'm like, well, I guess I guess we just have to try again tomorrow. That's literally what I'll do. I'm like, well, today sucks, I guess we'll try again tomorrow. It's like I'm winding a clock, and that's the way I work. Like, if it doesn't work out that day, I'm just like, it didn't. So I guess I just and I know I need to learn how to just bounce back and cope with things. And I'm better than I was before, because sometimes I wouldn't bounce back super fast, and sometimes I was scared that like I wouldn't bounce back at all. But now I do bounce back a little faster, and that's just my way to cope. I saw this side note, I saw this girl on TikTok who her coping mechanism was literally, and I don't know, she said it worked for her. She said if she feels anxiety, she does a full bedtime routine and she goes to sleep, I think. And I was like, that sounds similar to something to what I do. Like, just people's way of coping with things are so interesting. Like, people are so interesting. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn the static off. People are so interesting that they can just find these ways of coping, and that's why scrolling on the internet is like, it's just nice to see people with similar problems to you going like, okay, this is what I do, and like managing and functioning. And that's like why I post these videos as well, because I want people to see like, okay, this is how I found, hold on. Sorry. Like, this is what I found works for me. Um, like when I spiraled into a depression, a video you should check out is my video, my Slay the Spire video, where I talk about how I cope with depression. Like when I slip into one, and when you slip into one and you're like, oh, you're in one, don't panic. It sucks really bad. But like, and the medications I take now help me to manage it better and help me to manage it emotionally, which I'm very grateful for, but it still really sucks to be in it. Like, it will never not suck. Like, even if, even when I tell myself, like, um, well, this depression wasn't as bad as that depression in, 2024 or something like that, or that depression a couple years ago, or that depression a month ago. Like, it doesn't really make much of a difference because depression is depression. It doesn't feel good at all. Like, not at all. But same thing with anxiety. It doesn't feel good, and being emotionally dysregulated doesn't feel good. So sometimes your body might feel out of whack, is my point, and then you need a way to cope with it. And so that girl's way of coping with it was really interesting. Like, I like to watch people. This is weird. This is really weird, right? Um, what I'm about to say is a little weird, but okay, don't judge me. I used to like to watch and look up people with chronic illnesses or going through chronic pain and seeing how they cope with it. Like a lot of, and oh my gosh, I would not wish this on anyone. It sounds so awful. Migraines. Like my mom struggles with migraines. It sounds like the worst thing ever. Having to function in daily life with migraines, I could not imagine. Um, and I always pray for, like, I pray for people with migraines. Oh my gosh, but like, or try to remember to pray for people with chronic illnesses and migraines. But it's interesting to see. Like, there was this girl who had a migraine, and she still, like, I have issues trying to do my daily task when I am not in the middle of an episode, like when I'm not in pain. But she was doing her whole bedtime routine, taking off her makeup, everything like that, with a migraine, and she looked like she was in a lot of pain. So seeing someone being functionally in pain like that was super interesting because it motivates me. It's like some kind of catharsis. I know it's really weird, but it motivates me to want to keep going too, to want to be functionally, I call it being functionally in pain. Not that I'm comparing or that we should compare mental health with physical health, because that's like they're two totally different things. But the fact that you can still have like a broken, you know, brain or a broken body, or be discombobulated or not be doing okay and still be functional, like still like, take some form of action, whatever that may look like the girl who was like, okay, I'm gonna do a full bedtime routine, which to some people might seem silly, but it works for her. Like, it just works for her, and that's just the end of it. um and like, I like healthy ways of, like, coping with things. Like for me, mm, like, I take advantage of when I have spurts, or like energy spurts, which I don't seem to have them too much nowadays, which is concerning. um but now I try to like take advantage of like higher, uh I am not leveled up enough, of higher times of energy, than having more energy at some points than others, because I like this weekend. Like this week sucked. My energy levels were low, so I cope with it by going like, okay, I'm going to designate. I'm going to actually designate this weekend, this period of time, to cleaning things up physically, and to cleaning things up mentally, and you know bodily wise, by like exercising, cleaning my room, and just having more of a fresh start, and getting things done so I can have like a fresher start to the week. And Oof. And that's worked for me. Like, or like making a whole day, like making a day a self-care day. I'm like, okay, you have not, and this is me being vulnerable. I do not usually tell people about like my more hygienic things, but like my hair, I have just let my hair go this week. Like, have not really been taking care of it. Um, I'm gonna die, but that's okay. And so I designated a time for my hair. Like, what day was it? Like Thursday, I think. Like Thursday, I felt better. I had more energy on Thursday. I don't know why, but I had more energy and more wherewithal. So I was like, okay, today's gonna be hair day. I'm gonna detangle my hair and I'm gonna press it. You know, I'm gonna fix my hair. So I did, and then the next day that made me feel better because my hair was more manageable and it felt, better on my head. And some, uh, when you have my type of hair, it's harder to do and it's harder to manage. And yeah, and sometimes I'm kind of in a bad money situation, but I usually manage it by like going like, okay, well, it's time to go to the hairdresser, but like I'm like, well, let me save this money though, because getting your hair done cost-wise. So for right now, I need to find ways to manage it. Um, Something else I do. Sometimes these are mostly girly things too, but something else that I do is just if I'm doing the bare minimum for the day, uh, washing my face, putting face oil on, and yeah, like putting face oil on and chapstick. It makes me feel nice and clean, makes me feel like I look better than I do, and moisturized, and doing something self-care wise. Like I might do that again in a little bit. Um, and like playing a game or something like this. Uh, Trying to think of more. Or I've never done this, but like, well, I've did this for like, I rarely ever do this, but like taking a nap. Rarely ever do that because it really doesn't work for me very much. Sometimes it does. When it works, but and it really is a good thing because it really helps to re-regulate. Because look at the study of how sleeping affects your brain. Like it's literally washing your brain when you take a nap. And sometimes if you're sleep deprived, that may be what you need. And so when I had low motivation that day, I went home, laid down, and took a nap for like 2 or 3 hours. Got up, got back to work, and like had more energy to do that. Took my medications, felt like I was having a restart, and went back to doing what needed to get done. And yeah, like that's how I coped with that, and it worked for me. And as I get older, I'm learning about more things that work for me and help me to cope and get through days and things. Ultimately, for me, it's like when I like this praying and leaning on the Lord and things and whatnot, and then going forward and like doing those things, but like just to manage things overall and to just manage life overall. Let me think of more. I know there's more. Um, like with the hair day thing, taking a day, going like, okay, today's self-care day, doing things I usually don't do, like cleaning my room. Um, Going like, okay, do this today, do that today, journal today. Um, I've literally also taken a whole, like when I was in a depression, like a worse one, back in the past, when I lived in my apartment and I worked at my other job, I literally took a whole day to fast and pray. Well, like I didn't fast the whole day. I took a whole day off and I fasted on that day. Did not take the whole day to fast, and I prayed, and that was amazing. That was a good time. So like taking a day off I've taken days off. I've literally texted my supervisor and gone like, I never feel good about it. It's usually when I do that, I'm like at the point where I'm like, okay, I really need to reset. I really can't do this. Um, because little things bother me. Things bother me that don't, bother other people. Like if a whole bunch of little irritations. Hold on, let me adjust. Also, what time is it? Sorry, 7:30. Oh my gosh. If a whole bunch of little like irritations happen in a day, like with the technology and things, because our system is janky. If the system keeps acting annoying, if the internet's continually slow, and other things are happening as well, and it messes with me, I'll take the day off. Like I've done that before. I'm not above taking the day off and going like, hey, the tech isn't working. The stuff just isn't agreeing with me today. Let's try again tomorrow. And I'm bad about that, but like for me, it works. Like for me, if I have like 23 hours, and I've done that before, I'll take like 3 days off. Like that's just what has worked for me. Well, it didn't work for me when I did it the one time, but when I did it the one time, I went home when I was burnt out, and that was a bad choice. I know not to do that again, to go home, because I just went home, so I was like, I'll just go home, have a break, but like, you have to go. When I went home, it's like we went every freaking where. Like, I was like, I really just want to be at the house. Like, I don't want to go anywhere. Like, you have done, like, I don't want to go anywhere. And I didn't really think about it. I'm like, oh, being home, I gotta go all these places and see all these people, and I didn't really think about it at the time until it was happening. I'm like, oh, this was a bad idea. That was random. That's the story I told before. But now knowing like, hey, if I'm burnt out or when I avoid burnout, going home probably is not the answer. Probably taking days off and like being intentional with them to stay home and stay at my home and do the things I like to do. Because I remember we used to have weekly supervisions with my teacher, and I remember she would ask us like, oh, what are we doing for self-care? And she would talk about being intentional with self-care. Like she would talk about things like getting massages and whatnot. And I have a friend who gets massages and gets her nails done and things, and like that's one of my self-care things too, painting my nails. I don't know, I just, whenever I'm at work, that's something I should do this evening. Um, because whenever I'm working, whenever I'm not working, I don't think about my nails. But whenever I'm working and typing and stuff, I'm seeing my nails, and like my nails, like little things like that, like my nails affect me. I'm like, if my nails look haggard, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't feel right, I don't feel altogether put together. So it affects me in that way. So that's something that I should do tonight as well. Paint my nails. It takes a lot of time. But it just makes your nails look clean. Nice and clean. It makes you feel more put together than not. Ooh, okay. Yeah, but self-care things are really important, or having your own ways to cope, or figuring out what helps you when it comes to coping is really important. Because like with the girl with migraines, some people's coping mechanism is just doing things like normal, and some people's coping mechanism is just going to bed, straight to bed without taking their makeup off or anything. That's usually mine. Not my coping mechanism, but like that's usually my go-to anyway. So like my better coping mechanism is actually taking off my makeup and doing, my nightly routine instead of just foregoing it and going straight to bed. Like doing things that make me feel like I'm treating myself like a human um, like keeping stuff clean, keeping my things clean, and taking care of myself makes me feel like I am cared for and I'm important. Those things like help my self-esteem and help me feel some level of confidence. Like, like this is just me chatting randomly, but like going to what did I say? When I go to work, um, just like making sure my face is clean and putting on makeup before I go in, like making sure my makeup looks good or the way that I want it to look. It makes me feel so good. I don't know why. It's a really girl thing, like a really feminine thing, but like it just I'm like, why? What is the science behind this? Why do I feel oh gosh, I died. My goodness. How long have I been going for? Maybe I can go another round. But it's like, why do I feel put together and have slightly more energy if I have makeup on? Or if I feel like I look nice, or if I am dressed nicely? Like, why does that affect the way that I feel? And it's a very feminine thing, but it's a very human thing as well. Just to feel nice when you're put together. So, like putting yourself together, making like wearing something nice. Um, I know some people like to just put on makeup or when they're by themselves, and I don't think that's not really me. I like to feel like my face is clean when I'm by myself, but I don't really care to put on makeup. I think I've tried it before, and it didn't really do much for me. I don't really remember. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it didn't do much for me because when I put it on by myself, I'm like, well, I gotta take this off. But when I go to work, I'm like, okay, there's a functional purpose to this. Like, I get to look nice around people, and it's very nice. Um, or my hair is done around people, and it feels nice, and I feel professional, and like I'm counting what I do as important. And I think that's part of it too. I'm like talking it out makes it more sensible, or makes it make more sense to me. Um, but yeah, like that's just little things I do for coping and for normalcy and for self esteem, confidence, self care, anything I can think of. Yeah, just for like advocating for myself to at work to be off, or to have like when I took that afternoon off. Um, oh yeah, I have to remember that too. I have an individual meeting with my supervisor on Monday, like virtually. But when I took that afternoon off on Friday, she was like, "Oh, let me know if you want to have a one-on-one," and that's another form of self-care. Like, I've had to explain this too because I've had different supervisors, and I've had to keep explaining it, but it is what it is. Um, so like, I was going to go like, I was gonna say no, we don't have to have a one-on-one. That's like usually my tendency because I hate talking. But one form of self-care is like, okay, we will have a one-on-one, and I'll talk to you about, like, hey, like my mental health, and how I was told before. I had a big boss before who was like, oh, any way we can accommodate you, let me know. And I felt so comforted and so nice after that, because she was super nice about it. But the supervisor I had at the time, she was still kind of older, like she was in her 40s. Not that that matters, but like her thing was more like, well, we just got to deal with the hard stuff, and like, whereas other people I've worked with there are more like, okay, we will accommodate you. And she was more like that, and that was like such a God thing. Like, that was amazing. And so I'm gonna talk to her about it and go like, hey, like, I've talked to, and this is me, me practicing for that too. I completely forgot about that. And I'm going to tell her, like, hey, I talked to other supervisors about this. I talked to, you know, the other supervisor about it, the big one when she was in place. Um, and they all told me the same thing. They told me I think I can do the functions of this job. They told me that they would accommodate me. Um, they told me they understood, so I just need some understanding when it comes to, because I hate having to do that. I hate having to ask to flex time and things. Um, and I hate having to like, you know, feel like an inconvenience. I don't think I wouldn't think of anyone else as an inconvenience if they took off, but like I feel like one when I do. So that's what I'm gonna talk with her about. I think just like, hey, like I've been told before that, you know, that I could be accommodated, blah blah blah. Just hyping myself up to talk to her about it. I completely forgot about that, but I think I need to have a one-on-one with her about it and just go like, hey, like, yeah. There's a swarm coming. Uh-oh. But yeah, just little things to, I mean, I want people to learn. That's what my passion is. Like, I want people to learn, like younger people who don't know better, who are getting in the workforce, or like anyone who doesn't know, to learn how to protect themselves, um, and to advocate for themselves and like to care for themselves. Even if you're single and it's just you, and even if you're not single and it's not just you, I'm looking for my water. Hold on. I love how like 1 second it's right beside me, next moment it's just missing. That's so lovely. Oh, I found it. Ooh, another one, getting 15 minutes of sunlight a day, drinking water, being conscientious to just care for yourself. And I'm speaking to myself too, because like this week I was not conscientious to take care of myself. I was just more like doing the bare minimum because I didn't have the energy. But I was like, okay, this weekend I'm gonna do the things that I need to do to care for myself. I'm gonna eat protein, I'm gonna exercise. Um, what else? Like, I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna drink water, I'm gonna do the things that you need to do to care for yourself and remember that you are valuable. And this guy is ugly. And just remember, yeah, just remember that you are a human, you are a temple, you are important, and just knowing how to take care of yourself and how to be responsible for yourself instead of, you know, because I've had several occasions where, like, when I was younger, like some years ago, not even that long ago, like a year or some years ago, even when I started working here, where I just wanted to curl up into a ball and just give up. Like, just go like, hey, it's not worth it. Nothing's worth it. I'm not worth it. Like, I didn't want to have conversations with people about myself. I didn't want to be an inconvenience. You know, I hated myself. I didn't want to advocate for myself. I didn't feel like I was worth it. And it made me feel ill, and I had to just learn how to, well, for one thing, getting on the right medications, and have to learn how to do that. And it was hard, but I'm glad that, like, I'm at this point, being at the point where you must advocate for yourself and must hold yourself as important. It's very hard if you have that kind of issue, but it's very worth it. It's very worth it. Like, I always say, like, you're a human in this world. You only have so many choices. I want people to make the right choices. where they're caring for themselves and doing, even if that means doing the hard thing and advocating for yourself or caring for yourself and whatnot. Ugh, my arm. I'm gonna put my arm brace on in a bit. I am not leveled up to where I need to be. I do not. I think I'm gonna end this though. I think I'm gonna end it for now. Um, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you. I really hope you got something out of this. I will see you soon. Hopefully, we'll post some more today. And yeah, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you later. Bye.